As an INFP man, you might think that you don't fit in with traditional or modern portrayals of masculinity, and maybe you might wonder, am I really a man and how can I be more manly? Or why do I not fit in and identify with these male archetypes and figures that I see in traditional medias and institutions, right? Now, INFP men are notably known for being sensitive and modest. Just like all other INFPs, INFP men are careful not to overstep themselves, tend to be modest about their own accomplishments, avoid or dislike showing aggression, and tend to be careful not to step on other people's toes. But that's not to say that INFP men cannot be masculine. When you really start looking under the lens of masculinity and how we talk about it in the modern world today, often I find that we tend to only focus on very specific forms of masculinity. We tend to focus on specific archetypes of masculinity, namely the ESTJ or the ESTP version of masculinity. But if we look in traditional media, anyone who is a man represents masculinity, and any male actor or role model or character in a book or a story represents male ideals, but different forms and different versions of them. Masculinity has different sub-forms of masculinity, you could argue. And as an INFP man, whatever you do, and no matter how you conduct yourself, people are going to interpret what you do through a male or masculinized lens. Now, what that means is when people look at an INFP man and compare it to an INFP woman, they're going to read your actions and the things that you do differently than they would an INFP woman, simply because you're a man, right? And the same goes if you're a woman, of course. With this, INFP men have an opportunity to redefine and to challenge traditional masculine ideals and how masculinity is portrayed in media today, and to show an alternative version to how men can be. If we look at a character like Michael Cera, for example, in traditional fiction, often typed as an INFP, Michael Cera is in many ways looked at and adored by many women as the ideal man. Yes, many women actually find this kind of male figure to be somebody very, very attractive and very, very interesting and very, very positive. Yeah, many women long to date somebody like Michael Cera in these kind of stories, right? Now, as awkward as he can seem or how shy he can appear, people still recognize his depth and his sensitivity. And here, what you have to recognize is that sensitivity and modesty are not negative traits as you might hear. You might hear other INFP, other men, ESTJ men say, oh, don't be so sensitive, don't be so quiet, be more aggressive, be more pushy, stand up for yourself more, right? But as an INFP, sensitivity and modesty are your core strengths, and that's where you draw your energy from. And the truth is, actually, people really appreciate these traits, right? So you'll also, as much as you find people telling you not to be sensitive, not to be so modest, right? You'll also find that people genuinely appreciate being around somebody like you. So what you'll see is that often they appreciate the qualities of that you bring to the table and how you influence your environment by your actions, while at the same time struggling to understand your needs as an INFP man. And this is your job. You have to tell them what your needs are, and you have to stand up for those boundaries. That's the kind of assertiveness you need. You need to develop the assertiveness and confidence that allows you to stand up for and speak out for who you are, and which allows you to be who you are, right? And that means that learning to be strong in your sensitivity, learning to be secure in yourself. That's what you really need as an INFP man. You don't need to change anything about yourself. You just need to learn to develop the base parts of yourself so that you can wield them confidently to the outer world. No more denying yourself, no more criticizing yourself, no more scrutinizing yourself, no more telling yourself you have to be somebody else than who you are. That's gotta stop. So, what is it people genuinely appreciate about you as an INFP man? Well, first, you make people feel safe. Around you, people don't have to pretend. People are drawn to modest people because modest people make them feel secure and safe. When you're around an assertive or aggressive person, you always feel like you have to defend yourself and you have to constantly stay high up, because if you get too low, you're afraid that they're gonna get down on you, right? At a workplace, INFP men remind us that we don't have to be loud or boisterous to do our work well. We don't have to constantly compete with everyone else. We don't constantly have to be better than everyone else. It's okay to be in the middle. It's okay to not always to show up in your best way. INFP men remind us that, well, life is not just about the race. It's not just about the surface or the shallow or superficial acts of productivity or doing or creating. It's about quality. INFP reminds us to think about quality over quantity, to really think about why we do the things that we do, what's really worth doing, and what's a waste of time. And too often we spend our time doing things that are a complete waste of time, pushing ourselves to try to appear like we're successful or rich or handsome or amazing, when in reality we're not doing or contributing anything, right? INFP men also make us feel emotionally seen, right? You know how actually people light up when they're given an opportunity to really open up about themselves without feeling judged, without feeling like you're being attacked, without feeling like people are going to look down on you, right? And here you have to think about the male ideal. The male ideal is often said to be stoic, to be cold and unemotional, right? Now, the INFP male ideal here has to be a vulnerable stoic. And what's a vulnerable stoic? A vulnerable stoic is somebody that can say that, yeah, I'm kind of shy or I'm kind of afraid in this situation, but I'm going to be brave anyways, right? So here, this requires emotional openness to say, hey, I'm not sure what the right answer is, but I'm going to push forward in life anyways. I don't know the truth, because as an INFP, I have modesty, I have doubt, and I allow myself to have these things because it helps me think and reconsider and consider all the options and think deeply. But I'm still going to take action when necessary. And here, yeah, you can also say, yeah, I feel upset, or I'm having a bad day, or I'm feeling a bit depressed today, but I'm still going to try to do my best, whatever that is today, right? Because today that can be just making your bed and just doing the base things, right? It doesn't have to mean constantly being amazing or constantly doing awesome or constantly always being 100%, because you're not always 100%. Emotional stoicism, vulnerable stoicism, is about owning your emotions, because yeah, you're not a baby anymore, right? When you're a baby, you can just cry about something and just be upset about something. But when you become an adult, often you're required to own your emotions, right? So that means you're allowed to have emotions, but you gotta own them. You gotta own up to the fact that you're having emotions, that you do feel upset, that you do get angry sometimes, that you do get sad sometimes, that you do feel tired sometimes. And you gotta own that you have these emotions. And do your best to take responsibility for them, whatever that means on that day, as much as you're capable of, trying to take care of yourself, support yourself, and allow and show other people that it's okay to do the same. Show other people that it's okay to be and have negative emotions, to have struggles, to have vulnerabilities, to have insecurities. That's how INFP men save masculinity too. Because if masculinity and the men are not allowed to have these things, masculinity would one day collapse as an idea. Masculinity arrived as a social construct to solve certain problems in our culture. We created and we desired to have these kinds of masculine people in the world because we saw that these kind of traits would be useful to the survival of us as a tribe. But if masculinity can only be cornered into a certain set of specific traits, namely the ESTJ or the ESTP traits, masculinity will collapse because men will no longer want to participate in it, because they'll no longer see the benefit of it, and they'll feel left behind, and they'll feel like society doesn't care, and they'll feel like they are being abandoned for who they are, right? So INFP men are deeply necessary to keep masculinity as a stable and healthy construct, and to ensure that, yeah, these kinds of ideas can live on, and that men can feel happy and healthy, and that men can be successful in life today. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments down below.